Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So let's talk about Santa Cruz in the early 90s, the beach flats, Barrio, gangland, full of Surenos, Southsiders. They're the street soldiers for the Mexican mafia. You had a couple other gangs there, but the Surenos pretty much dominated the shit, and it was just open-air drug market, gang members everywhere. There might be 15 guys on that corner, another 10 guys on that corner, another 20 guys up by the basketball court. I mean, just tons of people everywhere. And if you've never seen anything like it, then it's a shocking scene. You could pull around the corner on a good night, and there'd be 30 motherfuckers out in the streets just taking over. In a 6 block by 6 block area, there was 1,000 known validated gang members, and then they said, and this is according to an article that was in the paper, each validated gang member has 3 associates. So you're talking a few thousand people in a 6 block by 6 block area. Everybody's got a hustle. Everybody's up to something. They had little kid gangs. They had a chick gang full of women. Arguably, the most vicious of all the gangs down there was the women's gang. These chicks don't play around. They kill people. they would kill anybody. The little kid gang, the teenagers, pay them no mind. They're little vatos, doing the little cholo style with their shirts and their bandanas and all that shit, just like they've been doing for generations. And they'll eventually graduate up into the Surenos, whether it be on the street or in YA, the Youth Authority. It's like juvenile hall. If you're in a different state, California, they call it Youth Authority. I never had any problems with the little kids, but one night we did. And I'll tell you the story about it. We were walking home, me and my roommate. He's my best friend. We grew up together. Partner in crime. We're walking home one night late from the bar. The San Lorenzo River was on the edge of the neighborhood, and there was a path by the river. Little skinny, little man-made kind of river. And we'd take the path from the bar pretty much all the way home, a couple miles. Not even worth taking a taxi cab. On a good night, you walk. Both of us, pretty tough guys. I usually carried a weapon, but I didn't have anything on me that night. I'd been getting fucked with by the cops a lot. So, you're getting hassled by the cops. California has pretty good, tough gun laws, weapons laws, and you end up in prison for 5 years on a bullshit charge. So, you leave it at home. Unless you need it, unless you need to go ride on somebody, unless you got a mission. So we're walking, it's like 3 a.m, bars are closed. Walking along the path, we get to the edge of the neighborhood, to the edge of the beach flats, Barrio, and we cross the street, go into the neighborhood, hit our block. Right by our apartment building stood alone, and it wasn't a big building. It was a 2-story building with maybe only 5 units in it, 6 units in it. On one side of the building was a basketball court. In that basketball court, there was a trailer that housed, I think it was Barrios Unidos. It might have been La Raza. I think it was Barrios Unidos. And then on the other side of the apartment building, there was a garden, a community garden. And the Barrios Unidos people, especially this one chick, she would run the garden. But the garden was real nice. And it was a pretty decent-sized community garden. Funny thing about the garden, though, is these Mexicans were not farmers. There's farmer Mexicans. These weren't farmers. These are urban people. Everybody in the neighborhood was pretty much from Mexico City. Mexico City's urban. These motherfuckers didn't know shit about farming. We got a community garden. They didn't know how to grow nothing. The Barrios Unidos chick, I forget her name. She was real nice, real cute too. And she was like, well, I'll teach them how to grow radishes. That's easy to grow. They have a quick harvest. So they started off with radishes. That's all they were growing in the whole garden was radishes. Full of radishes. They all harvested. Fucking trash cans, buckets, bales of goddamn fucking radishes. Motherfuckers are sitting there on the corner with handfuls of them, putting salt on them, trying to figure out how to eat them. Nobody knew what to do with these radishes. The neighborhood's flooded with radishes, and nobody really knew. I mean, what do you do with radishes? What do you fucking make with a goddamn radish? It was just kind of funny. I mean, they had their heart in the right place. They just didn't really know what to do with it. So we're walking by the community garden and it's late. And nobody's out. Sometimes the block is crowded. Sometimes it's empty. It was empty. When it's empty, it's a little more dangerous. You might think it'd be more dangerous when there's tons of people out. It's more dangerous when it's dead. This little group of kids rolls up on me and my roommate. My roommate had just started martial arts classes. Now, anybody that knows Jason, because me and Jason grew up together, we're still friends. I just came back from his house right now. We watched the Raiders game. Jason is a master martial artist now and has been for many years. He owned his own martial arts studio. He has many black belts. He could break your neck. I don't care who you think you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. I don't care if you think you're badass. He'll fuck you up. I mean, that's real. But this was when he first started. This was when, in the beginning. He was just a street thug. He knew how to throw his hands, but he didn't know much about martial arts, and he had just started his class. And when you get to a certain point in martial arts, when you start to build confidence in the beginning, a lot of guys, not all, a lot of guys, Jason was one of them, they want to go and test the shit out. I've known cats like this before. This other guy, Michael Marsh, I knew this cat that was really good at martial arts, and when he first started off, he wanted to kick ass. He just was looking for a fight. You just say something to me? And he would be throwing down with people just so he could practice what he learned in class. And Jason was kind of on that same vibe, walking around like he's Bruce Lee. So these little gangsters, little baby gang motherfuckers, they're must have been 15, 14, bunch of little kids, man, little teenagers. They roll up on us. And they didn't know who we were because, it's a small neighborhood, but we're not really hanging out with teenagers. So how the hell would they know? These motherfuckers are supposed to be in the house. They're outside for some reason. You don't usually see the young kids out late at night. The night crew is a dangerous group. They hold down the turf. These guys pack their pistols. They don't hide them in bushes, and they're ready for action. But somehow these kids were out, and they're roaming through the neighborhood looking for trouble. They surround us, and they want our wallets. One of the kids, he pulls out a fucking switchblade, little stiletto, and it looked like a piece of shit too. But it was, I've always liked switchblades and stilettos. I had one when I was that same age. I got expelled from one of the high schools I went to for pulling a switchblade on a gym teacher. So this kid was like a little version of me. He's got that fucking stiletto out. He's like, give me your wallet. I burst into laughter. I look over at Jason and I'm thinking, so we gonna knock these kids out or what? And he's like, oh no, this is great. He's got this big smile on his face. I can tell he's excited as fuck. This is exactly what Jason has been waiting for. This is the moment he's been looking for like all month long. He wants to try out some of these moves, some of these kicks that he's learned. He's like, I got this shit. Don't even worry about this. And he gets in his karate stance. This kid's got the knife, and this kid thinks that he's, that he's able to do some damage. I got a knife. I'll cut you. Jason throws a kick, a front kick, plants his foot in this kind of badass, like martial arts Bruce Lee way, has his foot planted right in front of him after he's threw this front kick, this forward front kick. And the kids are all sitting there wide-eyed. Everybody in unison, we all at the same time look down at Jason's foot. The knife is no longer in the kid's hand. The knife is gone. We look down, and right through his foot, up into his shoe, is the fucking knife. He kicked the knife. The kid's holding the knife. Jason kicked the knife, and it went with him. And then he planted his foot down, and that fucking knife is going right up through his goddamn foot. Jason's a tough guy. Big motherfucker. He's not a little kid. He's a big giant man. He pulls the knife out of his shoe, breaks it, because there's a piece of shit stiletto, breaks it right in half, breaks the blade off of the handle, plastic handle, and then throws it away. And these kids are, they're 15, 16, they're teenagers. They've never seen nothing like this. This was the craziest white boy they ever ran across in their fucking lives. They were like, oh my God. They literally all burst off running. They ran off through the garden. Tearing off. We stood there laughing. Of course, I helped Jason home and he bandaged up his foot, little Neosporin and a Band-Aid, and everything's all right. I laughed at him all night long for that shit. That was the funniest karate kick. He just kicked that knife right into his foot. It's just life in the barrio. Thanks for watching.